Hi, welcome to day 5 of Simple Solutions to Solving Back Pain and Sciatica. Today we're going to talk to you about several things that are probably causing little bits of problems throughout the day that toward the end of the day really can add up. So first we talked about breathing. I hope you're doing that well. Second, we talked about sleep. And then we talked about stretching and strengthening. And today, again, some simple solutions to really kind of put it all together. So you see me, I'm sitting here at one of the offices within the building, and we're going to talk about your office setup, whether it's at home or at your office building, whether it's at your kitchen table, if you stand to work, if you sit to work. All these things could have little impacts that really can make you feel in pain or make you feel better. It depends on how you approach it. So some things to keep in mind are just the office setup. A lot of people ask me, what type of chair should I get? It's not the type of chair, it's how you use it. You could pay a lot of money for an expensive chair, but if you're not using it properly, it really doesn't matter. So the chair has to be useful to you. So I'm pretty tall, for example, and so my chair needs to come up quite a bit. And in fact, this one doesn't come up too much. And for me, this wouldn't be a great chair. My hips are bent more than 90 degrees. My hips are below my knees is another way to say that. These armrests, for me to have support for my shoulders, it's way too low. So if I were to rest on the armrest, I would be kind of hunched forward already, and you can already see where this is going. It's going to lead to low back problems, shoulder problems, neck problems, even headaches, TMJ problems. So really how you get yourself set up in a chair does make a huge difference. Now luckily these armrests come up, and actually after working with many patients over the years, they're actually very surprised when they learn about these little features. Again, this is another reason why we're doing this video. So what we want to have happen is, first of all, the hips should be slightly higher than the knees when you're in sitting. And one good way to also get yourself set up from the ground is have a footrest. Okay, this is a soft footrest. There's hard ones that are wedges. And basically what that'll do, I'm going to move back a little bit, you would put this further under the desk. Can you get in here? Can you see all that? If you look at me from the side now, my feet are out, okay? That footrest is actually pushing me up further back into the chair. Just by having my feet here, I'm keeping myself back in the chair. That allows me to use the backrest of the chair. And in fact, this is a pretty good backrest. You can see this goes up to my height, or it would drop down to someone else's height. So I'm going to bring it up pretty high there for me, right up at the top, and now I'm getting some good support up here. I would recommend something that comes up at least to your armpit height, maybe even a little bit higher. There's gaming chairs, which are very popular these days. Those are great. They're not just for gamers, they're great for anybody in an office. They sometimes have headrests, and you can rock back in them, and that's really probably the ideal position. If you think of yourself when you're driving, car manufacturers do a great job in constructing the car seats to fit ergonomically correctly. So when you're driving, you're a little bit tipped back, your head should be against the headrest, that's what it's there for, and your arms should be supported while you're on the steering wheel. You would like to get the same position when you're working at your computer. There used to be the adage that you had to have everything kind of squared off, like feet should be flat and you should be exactly 90 degrees at the hips. That's old information. What we want to look at is hips are a little bit higher than the knees, feet are out and supported like I showed you. That'll keep you in the back of the seat. One big problem that people have with sitting at their desk for a long time is they don't use the chair, right? They sit at the edge of the seat, and all day their back is trying to keep them upright. It's working very hard for a long period of time, and they get spasms in the back. If you sit back and use the chair, even if it's a $100 chair from Staples, you're going to be much better if you use it correctly. So now that we've done with the chair, like I said, we have the back height. The armrest height is key. A lot of people don't know about that. You should be well supported, and we're going to get up Here the legs should be out. This is actually not bad. I would prefer my chair to be a little bit higher, but it's not my desk, it's not my office, so this probably works well for him. But if I have to be here, I'm going to have my arms supported. You can see from right here, my elbow height is about the same height as my keyboard, maybe a smidge off. And then from my keyboard and my mouse, these are going to be very close to the elbow height as well. So I shouldn't have to go very far. If I'm typing, I shouldn't have to go very far for the mouse. I certainly shouldn't have to raise my arm up. All these little movements. Imagine how many times you pick up your arm to get to the mouse every single day. You know, even within an hour, it's probably in the hundreds every time you go from keyboard to mouse. Believe it or not, that's putting a little bit of strain on your low back. I mean, that power has to come from somewhere. Everybody knows about the core. They've heard about the core. What is your core really good for? It's these little things of keeping you together throughout the day. And if you're taxing it too much, you're going to end up wearing it out, having a spasm, back pain, and sciatica. So let's work on the little things. And that would be having your arms supported. So when you go to move to the mouse, you're right back in your chair. You don't have to lean forward for it. You don't have to do this hundreds of times in an hour. Same thing with your phone. You shouldn't have to, if you're constantly going for your phone, get a headset, put it on speaker or something like that. One button, and that's it. So that's it for the sitting position. Something that's become very popular over the last year, if not a little bit more, has been standing desks. And you can see that this is a standing desk. I'll say one more thing about sitting. Your monitor height, okay, the top of the computer monitor right here should be below your eye level. This one's right about my eye level. Okay, so I would probably bring this down a little bit. You should have a slightly downward gaze to the middle of the screen. So the top of the monitor should be a little bit below eye level. And that way you're pulling your chin back. Often we'll see people who have reading glasses or bifocals, and they'll try and use their bifocals to see the screen, and they'll sort of jut their chin toward the screen like this. That not only creates headaches and neck problems, but it brings them away from the backrest of the chair. They're not well rooted in the seat. One thing I've often tell people, whether it's in the car seat or if it's in their office chair, once you get in your seat, just do a little push-up and it's like plant yourself right back down the middle. Get yourself plopped right set in the middle, not kind of half in, half out, leaning one way for this or that. Get yourself in the middle, stay in the middle. If you find yourself drifting, just do one of these and get yourself set back in. You're going to have much more endurance from your work. Your work's going to be so much better. You'll probably get a raise because of it, and you'll be able to go on many more vacations and have a much better life, all because you can sit in your office chair much better. So now on to the standing desk position. This one's not too bad. It doesn't take too much to lift it up. Just a little lever on the side. And I gotta bring this up quite a ways for me. See if we go up any higher. So that's a little bit low. It's perfect. It's actually, it's a little bit low for me. So my arm should be horizontal. My keyboard should be right about here, so my forearm is horizontal. The monitor should be a little bit higher as well. Something that we've learned when everybody started working at home and went to have a standing desk, they found out that standing for a long time is actually pretty hard too. And we were finding people with either foot problems or, again, back problems. So what you want to do is you still want to use that footrest. That's why we have this soft one. It can be used for various things. So just going to bring this out a little bit. If the minute you put something in front of you, so the minute I put my hands out front, my center of gravity moves forward. That puts strain on my back because I don't have anything to support me underneath. So if I'm going to put my hands forward to type, I'm going to have to put a foot forward. And that's where the footrest comes in. You can get a stool, You can get a wedge, anything like that. Anything to kind of give you a little bit of a support in the forward direction. Okay, we're going to talk about this a little bit later. I've got another hack for you when doing dishes, and we'll talk about how to figure that out. So it's okay to be standing for a long time, but having that leaning forward over something, you can get very tight and tired in your back, causing sciatica, radiating pain down your leg, any of those things. So having something in front is definitely key. So this way you can sort of stand leaning into it a bit and have that base of support underneath you. While we're talking about standing, whether it be standing at your office chair or whether it's just standing if you're on the sidelines of your kid's soccer game, or if you're in line at the grocery store, you have to stand for a long time. It's very common for people to possibly stand kind of like, they put their hip out to one side, or they have, maybe they're standing with their legs straight, but they're sort of swayed this way. I do something with people, I call it the belly pat. So when you're standing, you should be able to pat your belly, and that'll kind of give you a little bit of attention to pull in your core. Again, a lot of people say they know what the core is, they do core exercises, but the core is really made for keeping you sturdy when you're standing. So little belly pat, get yourself engaged here. Another great one I have, I call the keystone stance. If you know in architecture what a keystone is, it's the top of an archway of a doorway. And the very top piece is called the keystone. The keystone is actually the same shape of our sacrum, of the bottom part of the spine. And so that keystone is there to take all the pressure. A keystone only works when you have a wide arch. It works best when you have a wider arch. So what I tell people, a keystone stance, instead of standing like this and having the pressure having to come down the legs, if you widen out a little bit, this is what I call the keystone stance. Now the pressure is even between each leg. It's coming right up and meeting at the sacrum. So the sacrum is sort of the wedge-shaped bone right about here. And now the pressure from my legs comes up and meets evenly at the sacrum. So you're using your skeleton as the structure to hold you up. That means less muscular work, less tension on ligaments and tendons, and sometimes even pressure on the nerves. So keystone stance or a wedge in front are really some great things to help you stay better. We're going to go over to the kitchen now and show you a couple hacks that you can do in there to keep your back from hurting. So we're here in our office. This is Jess. She works for us. She does great. You might talk to her on the phone every once in a while, or when you come in. She's always a wonderful smile. Her nickname is actually Smiley, so we're happy to have her here. But I wanted to show you our workspace. And so you can see that this desk that we have, this reception desk, is way too low for me. And that right now it's actually way too high for Jess. And in fact, if we switch spaces for a second here, Jess, now you can see it's at my height, okay? And I might, if I was working here, I've got a footrest I could put my foot up on. We talked about that a little bit, about having a stable base of support in the front. I can angle my computer back a little bit, so I've got a straight plane view of my screen. My mouse is in a good position, my keyboard's in a good position, and I'm all set. I mean, I could probably stand here for quite a while and feel comfortable and not have any repetitive strain. How does that work when you're sharing an office space with somebody? We're going to show you this nifty desk, and Jess, why don't you come over?
What about like rotation, issues, spinal mobility?
So this desk actually lowers, and we have the height customized for Jess, and she's all set. By one push of a button, we're able to get that desk height. You can see the different height adjustments. You can pre-program it. You can lock it into a different position. So, you know, if someone leans on this, it's not going to go up and down. But it's really made a great benefit for our office. And, you know, we practice what we preach. We want everybody to have a good work environment and not have any neck or back injuries while they're at work. So this desk was a great purchase for us, not a big time costly investment, something to think about. Thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.
All right. See you next time.